Play ball. Let me know if this is, can you hear this in the back enough? Or need a little more volume. You okay? All right. If it needs to be louder, very easy to do that way. Well, anyway, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. This is my musical baseball show. My name's Howie Newman. And basically what I'm going to be doing is a lot of baseball songs. Most of them I've written, but I will do a song or two that you have heard before. We'll be doing some trivia, telling stories, and we try to make this as interactive as possible. So if you have a question or a comment, or you want to add something of personal experience, feel free to chime in between the songs, preferably. It works a lot better that way. So before we get going here, I want to just see what kind of demographic I'm dealing with. So how many of you are diehard baseball fans? All right. And how many of you are just kind of casual fans? And how many of you thought there was going to be free food? All right. Yeah, at least you're honest. That's good. Well, anyway. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I was a sports writer for 18 years. And I worked for the Patriot Ledger, the Lowell Sun, the Boston Globe, Associated Press, Baseball Digest, and a bunch of other magazines and newspapers. And I covered the World Series in 1985 and in 1986. Now, in 1985, I didn't have a laptop. That's because nobody had laptops in 1985. There were portable computers, but you wouldn't want it on your lap, trust me. So in order to file my stories that year, I had to drive from the ballpark to the Associated Press office in the city where the games were being held. So that was St. Louis and Kansas City. So it was a lot of fun driving around a strange city in the middle of the night in a rented car. But apparently all the stories got filed, so I guess I did okay with that. But in 1986, I got one of these, which was the Radio Shack TRS-80. And this was a landmark technological breakthrough. You could actually type your story on this computer and hook it up to a phone line, because there was no internet back in '86. But you could hook it up to a phone line and send the story into your newspaper. So this was really, really great. Very convenient. And as you can see, it was kind of crude. You get about 5 lines on here. And this had 25,000 bytes of memory. So you could do like 5 stories, and then you had to start erasing them. It was really amazing. And to compare this to a modern smartphone, this has the memory of 0.00008% of the smartphone. But it was great back then, I'll tell you. And I've been a huge fan my whole life, pretty much. I've been to 101 major and minor league ballparks, including the one of the T-shirt I'm wearing now, the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes of their single-A team in California. And one of the reasons I really wanted to go see them was that I really like saying Rancho Cucamonga, So I've been to 101 ballparks, and that's even more impressive when you consider that my wife would much rather have a root canal than go to a ball game. So I had to kind of work around that. I also did radio for the Lowell Spinners, a former minor league team in the area. I did that for 3 years. I did color commentary. And I have 3 CDs of baseball songs. They're all in the Hall of Fame archive in Cooperstown, New York, which is across from the main museum. That's where they have sound recordings and printed material, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a little bit about my background. I'd like to start off with a song about a ball player. I think you probably remember him. He was a member of the 2004 World Championship winning, curse-busting Red Sox. His name was Johnny Damon. Remember Johnny Damon? Yeah, he was quite a ball player. He was a multi-tooled player. He could do a lot of things for you. He could run, he could hit for power, he could hit for average, he could field. He couldn't throw worth a damn, but you can't have everything. And he was very instrumental in that World Championship. He had a lot of big hits in the postseason. Had a grand slam against the Yankees in the 7th game of the League Championship Series. Had 4 extra base hits in the World Series in 4 games. And the following year, he batted .316. That was his all-time career high. And over the winter, he became a free agent, and he did the unthinkable, which was to sign a contract with the New York Yankees. So I wrote a song about it. People thought it was pretty amusing back then, but after a while it got a little dated, you know, after a few years. So I stopped playing it, but now it's retro, it's nostalgic, you know, so it's making a comeback. Why did you go, Johnny Damon? Why did you take the cash and run? Do you think in New York City you'll be having this much fun? They cut your hair and shave your beard and smile. You said thanks. We don't love you anymore. Now we're with the gangs. Perhaps they didn't tell you. Perhaps you did not know. Left center field's 450 plus, and you're gonna make that throw. There's lots more ground to cover. You get the score every year. And I bet by mid-July you wish that you were here. Why did you go, Johnny Damon? Why did you take the cash and go? Did you think in New York City you'd be having this much fun? They cut your hair and shave your beard and smile. You said thanks. We don't love you anymore. Now we're with the gang. Now, George, you don't like losing, so you best be on your guard. 'Cause if you don't hit 300, life will never be so hard. And if you don't make the playoffs, and win a couple of rounds, the fans will cuss and swear at you, run you out of town. Why did you go, Johnny Damon? Why did you take the cash and run? Do you think in New York City you'll be having this much fun? They cut your hair and shave your beard and smile. You said thanks. We don't love you anymore. Now you're with the gang. Johnny Damon, why did you take the cash and run? Do you think in New York City you'll be having this much fun? We're out of sight and out of mind, you'll be missed. We don't need you anymore, 'cause we got Cocoa Crisp. Thank you. Some of you may have remembered Cocoa Crisp. He was a guy who he replaced Johnny Damon in center field, you know, but he was kind of a mediocre journeyman type player. But the Red Sox did have a long-range plan. They had this hot shot in the minor leagues named Jacoby Ellsbury, and he became the center fielder before too long. So I actually rewrote the final chorus of the song to reflect that bit of information. And then Ellsbury signed with the Yankees too, so I just said, "Oh, the hell with it." Alrighty. We're going to do our first trivia question here. And it's going to very cleverly segue into the next song. So going back to 2004 again, the Red Sox pulled off a big blockbuster trade at midseason. They traded Nomar Garciaparra to the Chicago Cubs. So the question is, whom did they receive in return? Anybody remember? Nobody remembers? Well, it's okay. Okay, so it was a very complicated trade, first of all. There were 4 teams involved. There was the Red Sox, the Cubs, the Montreal Expos, and the Minnesota Twins. The Red Sox traded Nomar to the Cubs, and in return, they received shortstop Orlando Cabrera from the Montreal Expos, and Doug Minkiewicz, from a first baseman from the Minnesota Twins. Now, Doug, he was a great, terrific fielding first baseman, and he actually recorded the final out of the 2004 World Series. So I wrote a song about Doug, But that's not why I wrote the song. I wrote the song because until he actually came to Boston, I could never pronounce his name, really. I mean, he had one of these really long names, and they had to take the vowels out, you know, to fit it in the box score. So, but once he got here, you know, it was on radio, TV, newspaper, and so I learned how to say it pretty quickly. And I found it to be a very lyrical name, you know. It had sort of a nice poetic cadence to it, Doug Minkiewicz. So I figured, you know, it was fun to say, and so I figured, well, if it's that much fun to say, it must be 3, 4, 5 times as much fun to sing. So that's why I wrote the song. Doug Minkiewicz, he's my favorite player. Doug Minkiewicz, he's the man, he's the man. Doug Minkiewicz, I just love to say it. Doug Minkiewicz, he's the man, he's the man. When he was a twin, it didn't mean a thing. Then he joined the Sox. Doug Minkiewicz really rocks. Doug Minkiewicz, he's my favorite player. Doug Minkiewicz, he's the man, he's the man. He's kind to his mother and a former Gold Glover. Doug may not make the Hall of Fame, but he's got 12 letters in his name. Doug Minkiewicz, I can't even spell it. Doug Minkiewicz, but I sure do like to yell it. Doug Minkiewicz, he's my favorite player. Doug Minkiewicz, he's the man, he's the man. M-I-E-N-T-K-I-E-W-I-C-Z. I think that's right. Doug Minkiewicz, he's my favorite player. Doug Minkiewicz, he just took that ball and ran. Doug Minkiewicz, I just love to say it. Doug Minkiewicz, he's the man, he's the man, he's the man, he's the man. Doug Minkiewicz, he's the man. All righty. Yes, sir.
He caught the last note.
That's correct.
The pitcher.
Keith Folk.
Yeah, and he settled with, he kept the ball.
He kept the ball for a couple of years.
What was the settlement?
Well, I don't know if there was any monetary settlement, but yes, that was in the end of the song. He took that ball and ran. You know? So he wouldn't give the ball back to the Hall of Fame because it was such a momentous occasion that the Red Sox won the World Series after 86 years. But eventually he did give the ball back, and I don't know whether they paid him for it or what happened, but the ball's in the Hall of Fame now. All right. All right, we'll do a little story for you right now. This is about a project that I did in 1985. I launched a national campaign to get rid of the designated hitter rule. So before I go any further, I want to just kind of see where you people stand on this important issue. So how many of you like the DH rule? Raise your hand. How many of you don't like it? And how many of you have no idea what I'm talking about? Okay, all right. That's all right.
We know.
That's about typical. So, okay, I'll explain what it is. So the designated hitter rule was adopted by the American League in 1973. And it was in response to the fact that in the late 60s and early 70s, the offense in baseball was spiraling downward at an alarming rate. There were less hits, and less home runs, and less runs, and the pitchers were dominating. And the owners were getting fearful that the fans would lose interest. So they developed a rule whereby the pitcher didn't have to hit, because a lot of pitchers aren't great hitters. And so they had, basically what it was is that there was a designated hitter. He would have a spot in the lineup, and he would hit, but he wouldn't play the field. And then the pitcher would pitch, but wouldn't hit. So essentially you had two players sharing one spot in the lineup, which goes against every traditional aspect of baseball, but that's what they did. And then the American League actually permanently adopted it, and the nationally adopted it 2 or 3 years ago as well. So now it's a big part of baseball. I never liked it. It takes too much, in my opinion, it takes too much strategy out of the game. If you're going to make a pitching change, you got to see, well, where's the pitcher in the lineup, and who do I have in the bullpen, who do I have to pinch hit, do I want to swap one of the other fielders out? Now the other half of that is also that if you have a guy who can really hit, but not a great fielder, well, without the DH, you have to find a place for this guy to hit, to play the field. So that's another bit of strategy. And the other part of it is that you will never get to see a lot of these great hitting pitchers. And there are a lot of pitchers who are really very good hitters. Like, for instance, do you remember Rick Wise? He used to pitch for the Red Sox and a few other teams. Well, in 1971, he probably had the best individual performance of any player in the history of baseball. He was pitching for the Phillies in 1971, and he pitched a no-hitter and hit 2 home runs in the same game, which is absolutely phenomenal. And then Earl Wilson was a pitcher for the Red Sox. 35 career home runs he hit, including 2 as a pinch hitter, because he was a big, strong guy. And Jim Tobin, he pitched for the Boston Braves in the 40s. He's the only pitcher ever to hit 3 home runs in one game.
Oh, wow.
And then there was this other pitcher that you may have heard of this guy. His name was Babe Ruth, and he was such a good hitter that they once the Yankees got him, they said, forget about pitching. He'll just play right field for us. So anyway, for all these reasons, I decided I wanted to try to get rid of the designated hitter rule. So in order to do a national campaign, you have to have a catchy slogan. So this was my slogan here. It was dump the DH. And I printed up a couple thousand bumper stickers, made up a brochure, and sent it out to every place that I could possibly think of. And it was the 1985 version of going viral. I mean, it went crazy. It was in the New York Times. TBS ran a several-minute spot on it. I did 30 radio talk shows, coast to coast, all over the country. I was on in San Francisco one night for 3 hours. People were very passionate about this. And it also ran in Sports Illustrated with a photo, which I have a copy of that on the table. And once it ran in Sports Illustrated, the campaign really went to another dimension, really, because at that time, Sports Illustrated had a global distribution of more than 4 million subscribers. I was selling the bumper stickers and the brochure for a couple of dollars to break even, to finance the thing. So once it ran in Sports Illustrated, I started getting mail from all over the world. It was amazing. I remember I got cash from New Zealand. I got a money order from Saudi Arabia. People were sending me checks and money orders. Australia, Canada, Mexico, Europe. It was pretty amazing. And sort of the crowning achievement of this whole thing was that the bumper sticker itself is now in the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown in a glass case with my name under it. I'm very proud of that. And unfortunately, nothing really changed as far as changing the rules, so we still have the designated hitter rule, but I don't know. I have no regrets about it whatsoever because, I had a lot of fun doing all the interviews. I learned a lot about doing publicity, and I got into the Hall of Fame, so can't complain.
I guess you don't like the ghost.
Oh no, it's hard. Because I've seen a lot of I like long extra inning games because every batter, it's like tension with it, And I remember seeing a 14-inning game between the Mets and the Giants, and the Mets won 1-0 in 14 innings. They got a home run in the bottom of the 14th, and Juan Marichal pitched for the Giants. He pitched the whole game, and the Mets only used 2 pitchers, so it was, I don't know, I don't like the ghost runner at all. Yes?
Do they have to do the designated?
They don't have to, but they don't have to do it, but it's usually, the average pitcher is not a great hitter. So once you start the game without the designated hitter, you cannot use it. So And the obvious exception to that is Shohei Ohtani, who is a pitcher and a hitter, but he's a once in a many generational player. It's usually to the team's advantage to use the DH, and everybody uses it. There really hasn't been an instance where a team decided not to use it for the game. Okay, so one of the great feats of hitting that I intentionally omitted, great feats of hitting by pitchers, was done by a guy named Tony Cloninger. Anybody remember him?
Yeah. Braves.
Braves. And what was his? That's right, but he did something very amazing that nobody else did and nobody else will do for a long time. He's the only pitcher ever to hit 2 grand slams in one game. So that's pretty amazing. As a matter of fact, for a pitcher to even bat 3 times in a game, you don't even see anymore. So, but pretty amazing. Now, 2 things you really need to know about this song to fully appreciate it is that when you have the 9-man lineup without the DH, the number 8 hitter has a tough job because a lot of times they're going to either walk him intentionally or unintentionally just to get to the pitcher. So that day for the Braves, the 8th place hitter, the number 8 hitter, was a guy named Dennis Menke. And in the first inning, the Braves had runners on 2nd and 3rd and 2 outs, and Menke came up to the plate. And they intentionally walked him to pitch to Tony Cloninger. And Cloninger hit a grand slam. So 3 innings later, the exact same scenario presented itself, and they walked Menke again, and Cloninger hit another grand slam. So the strategy didn't work. And then later on in the game, Cloninger had an RBI single, so he had 9 RBIs in the game. That is the all-time Braves record. And it's also a record for a pitcher, obviously, but the all-time Braves record, Hank Aaron, Eddie Matthews, Joe Adcock, none of those guys ever had 9 RBIs in a game, but Tony Cloninger did. So here's the song. It's on my new baseball CD, which is Baseball's Greatest Hits, Volume 3. And I'd like to play it for you right now. July 3rd, 66, baseball history in the mix. That day the Giants played Tony Cloninger and the Braves. Tony C was on the hill, you don't remember him, now you will. It was his claim to fame and 2 grand slams in that game. The Braves scored 3 to start the day, 2 men on, 2 away. It was only the first inning, but the fun was just beginning. Dennis Menke walked to the plate. Skipper Herman Frank said, "Wait, strategy's clear. Let's walk Menke." Pitch to Tony C. It took a mighty cut, his long fly ball, the baseball soared right over the wall. Tony C touched them all on that historic day. 4 runs in, just 1 swing, pretty good, beautiful thing. Once around was really nice in that game. He did it twice. On to inning number 4, up by 9. The Braves got more before he reached, so did Bowling. 2 men out, they were rolling. Menke walked up to the plate. Herman Frank said, "Wait, lightning can't strike twice. Let's walk Menke." And pitched to Tony C. He took a mighty cut, his long fly ball, the baseball soared right over the wall. Tony C touched them all on that historic day. 4 runs in, just 1 swing, pretty good, beautiful thing. Once around was pretty nice in that game. He did it twice. single, played it one more run. All the day, 9 RBIs, and Marco pitcher would reply. Pitching wise, it did just fine, struck out 5, went on 9 on both sides of the ball, no see. He did it all. It took a mighty cut, a long fly ball, the baseball soared right over the wall. Only feet touch them all on that sorry game. 4 runs in, just one swing, pretty good, beautiful thing. Once around the midnight in that game, he did it twice. Well, one grand slam was really nice on the day. Did it twice. Actually, one thing I forgot to mention about that song was that there's absolutely nothing in the English language that rhymes with Cloninger. You know, his nickname was Tony C. Now I know when people think of Tony C, they think of Tony Conigliaro, who was a great Red Sox star at a young age. So that's why I called this song, the song I just did, I called it The Other Tony C. All right, we're going to do another trivia question here. This is like one of my favorite ones because it harkens back to a different era. So, although they're not too far back. I mean, you guys were all alive when this happened. But who holds the record for striking out the most batters in one game? Want to take a guess?
The Red Sox pitcher, 20. Clemens.
That's a good guess, but it's not correct. But it's a very good guess. Now, anybody else want to take a stab at this? You're close. Okay. Well, if you mentioned Roger Clemens, Randy Johnson, Kerry Wood, or Max Scherzer, each of those guys struck out 20 batters in a 9-inning game. But that's not the record for a game. And actually, Clemens did it twice. He's the only one ever to do it twice. But in 1962, Tom Cheney of the Washington Senators struck out 21 batters in a 16-inning game, complete game victory over the Baltimore Orioles. He threw 208 pitches in that game, which is about a month's worth for these guys nowadays. So I told you a little bit before about the Dump the DH campaign. That was hugely successful. I mean, I didn't make a lot of money on it, but I got a lot of publicity. And so I decided the following year, in 1986, I'm going to do another campaign. And because I figure, well, now I'm a big shot, you know? I mean, everybody knows who I am, I know how to do this stuff. So I decided to take on artificial turf, because in the 80s, most of the teams had artificial turf. So when you do a national campaign, you got to have a catchy slogan, right? So this is my slogan here. Pull out the rug, and it says in the bottom, funded by the Alliance for Natural Playing Fields. And I just made that up. I thought it was everybody can hear this okay in the back, right? Does it need to be louder, or is it okay? Okay, all right, good. So anyway, so I decided I'm going to do the exact same thing. I printed up a couple of thousand bumper stickers. I made up a brochure. I sent it out, and it didn't have nearly the impact that the Dump the DH had. It was, I mean, I did get written up in USA Today and Sporting News and the New York Daily News, but and I have a copy of some of those writers there. But it just didn't take off. I don't know why. But so I've got a couple hundred extra bumper stickers if you want one. Just so you know. And about 6 or 7 years prior to doing this campaign, I actually had written a song about artificial turf, which I incorporated into the campaign. And unfortunately, the song didn't do that much for the campaign, and the campaign didn't do that much for the song. But I still like the song, so here it is. Now we got artificial flavors and artificial snow. imitation mayonnaise, false teeth, and you know you got artificial colors in your food and for your hair. But that artificial grass is just too much for me to bear. If Abner Doubleday was alive, he'd be gassed. He went to a baseball game and didn't see no grass, just a big green carpet with some fancy white lines, a little bit of dirt, and those metric signs you see. AstroTurf, AstroTurf. What have they done? Oh, Mother Earth, I don't want nothing beneath my feet that a horse can't eat. So take it away. It all began in Houston where they played the game indoors. They built a big dome stadium where one of its flaws was the grass just wouldn't grow where the sun refused to shine. So they ripped it out and put in the artificial kind. They put in AstroTurf, AstroTurf. What have they done? Oh, Mother Earth, I don't want nothing beneath my feet that a horse can't eat. So take it away. That was the song that was on my first baseball album, which came out as a vinyl disc in 1979. And I actually have some of the vinyl here, if anybody's interested in it, because for some reason people are kind of fascinated by the vinyl records now. You know? So somebody actually bought one from me last year. So anyway, this next song is about the greatest pitching performance in the history of baseball. And I was talking to a gentleman before the show about this. It's done by Harvey Haddix of the Pittsburgh Pirates in May 26, 1959. And the interesting part about this was that it was the greatest pitching performance, but it wasn't a perfect game. It wasn't a no-hitter. It wasn't a shutout. It wasn't even a victory, it was a loss. But on that day in 1959, Haddix was pitching against the Milwaukee Braves, and he retired the first 36 batters of the game, went 12 innings without allowing a single base runner, and then in the 13th inning, the unfortunate part for him was that his team didn't score any runs for him, and Lou Burdette, who was pitching for the Braves, was throwing a shutout. So Burdette pitched the scoreless top of the 13th inning, the bottom of the 13th, a lot of weird stuff started happening. And the first batter led off and reached on an error, so the perfect game was out the window. And then they bunted him over to second because they just needed one run and win the game. And Hank Aaron was due up, so they intentionally walked Hank Aaron. And Joe Adcock came to the plate and hit a home run, except that Aaron got confused as to whether the ball had actually cleared the fence or not. So he ran down to second, and then he ran back to the dugout. So he was out. And only one run scored in the play, but that was enough to finish off the game. But this is the greatest pitching performance ever. And both pitchers went all the way. It was a 13-inning game, and Haddix was a 1-0 loser. And I thought it would make an interesting song. It's on my new CD, my new baseball CD. Came out last year. It's called 12 Perfect Innings. Little Harvey Haddix, he was big ball for 14 years. He was good and not an all-time great. One night in Milwaukee, this game for the ages, never got a chance to celebrate. 12 perfect innings, 36 up, 36 down. It was by far absolute best on the mound. 12 perfect innings, no batter reached first base. What happened next? Simply not a race. for the Bucks that night. Had it dazzled from the start, moved right through the lineup, one by one. 9 innings, no hits, but it was 0-0. There was still work to be done. Next 9 Braves walk right back to the bench. Little lefty sure was in a zone. The only problem was Milwaukee's new Burdette had shutout going of his own. 12 perfect games, 36 up, 36 down. By far, absolute mastery on the mound. 12 perfect games, no better reach first base. What happened next? Simply not a race. 12 perfect innings. Undone, an error and a walk preceded. Hancock's home run past the teammate on the bases, but the winning run across and the greatest game ever pitched wound up as a loss. Dramatic pause here. 12 perfect games, 36 up, 36 down. It was by far absolute mastery on the mound. 12 perfect innings, no batter reached first base. What happened next? Simply not a race. 12 perfect innings. Great. Thank you. All right, we're going to do another trivia question. This has to do with the great Ted Williams. Ted Williams was undoubtedly the greatest Red Sox hitter of all time and one of the great major league hitters of all time. He played 19 seasons. So the question is, how many seasons did he have 200 or more hits? Nope, you cannot make a phone call to get the answers to this trivia question. I'm sorry. No lifeline here. Anybody want to take a guess? It's between 0 and 19, obviously.
10.
Anybody?
10.
10 is, you're way off, but I appreciate you had the courage to
15?
at least take a guess. Anybody else?
15?
15? No. That's anybody else? One more.
19.
Okay, no. Actually, he spent 5 years in the service, and some of the years that he played were partial seasons, so, and we give him a lot of credit for going out and having the courage to defend his country. If the correct answer is 0. Never had 200 hits in a season. There are a couple of reasons for that. He, first of all, this is not the main reason, but he played in the era of 154 game schedule, so there were less games, but a lot of guys had 200 hits in the 154 game schedule. The main reason that he never had 200 hits is that he walked so many times. He had a very strict disciplinary approach to hitting, and that he would never swing at a ball outside the strike zone, and he had an impeccable eye for strikes. So he walked a lot of times. He had the 3rd most walks of all time. And his career on-base percentage, which is calculated with hits and walks and a few other things, is .482, which is almost 50%. So that means that just about every other time he came to the plate, he reached base on a hit or a walk, which is absolutely phenomenal. And even the year that he batted over 400, which was in 1941, he's the last major leaguer to hit 400. He hit 406. He only had 185 hits that year, and he had 147 walks. his on-base percentage was like over 700. So that's the thing. Wade Boggs, who was a terrific hitter in his own right, had 7 consecutive seasons of 200 hits, but didn't have the plate discipline that he was a great hitter in his own right, but he did not have the same type of plate discipline that Ted had. This next song was inspired by the 1978 Red Sox. And anybody remember what happened to the Red Sox in 1978?
World Series.
What was it?
World Series.
Well, they did not play in the World Series in '78, but they had a very good team that year.
They lost in the playoffs to the Yankees.
It wasn't a playoff, actually. It was a tiebreaker. But you remember that. Let's see, I think a lot of people have just blocked this from your memory. You know, it was too painful to include in your consciousness. So that 1978 was the year that they had a 14.5 game lead on the Yankees in July, and they frittered the whole thing away. By the time the season had ended, they were tied with the Yankees, and they had to do a 1-game tiebreaker at Fenway Park. It was part of the regular season, the extension of the regular season. It was not considered a playoff game. And the Red Sox, so it was a one game, winner takes all, wins the Eastern Division. So Red Sox were looking good early in the game. They were ahead 2-0, going to the top of the 7th. Yaz had hit a home run. Mike Torres was throwing a shutout, and everything looked great. And then Bucky Dent came to the plate. And he was in the midst of this terrible hitting slump, and he only had 4 home runs the whole season. But he came up with 2 men on and hit a 3-run homer, put the Yankees ahead for good, and they held on to win the game. And so they won the Eastern Division, they won the American League pennant, they won the World Series, and the Red Sox won 99 games. They went home because there was no wild card back in 1978. So the song was also inspired by my mother. She was a big Brooklyn Dodgers fan, you know, and the Dodgers had really some great teams in the 40s and 50s. They went to the World Series 7 times and lost to the Yankees 6 times. The only time they won was 1955. So the battle cry out of Brooklyn every year was "Wait till next year," and that's the title of this song. This was the best damn team that I ever did see. It had strength up the middle, it had power and speed. Most of the season they could do no wrong, but when October rolled around, it was the same old song. Wait till next year, wait till next year. Exactly what went wrong is all too clear. So near and so far, close but no cigar. It's a long, long way till opening day, and the winter's getting near. Have another beer, wait till next year. Y'all thought it was a piece of cake, that 12-game lead at the All-Star break, but pitching was lousy, hitting got worse, and the next thing I knew we were out of first. Wait until next year, wait until next year. It's a long, long way till opening day, and the winter's getting near. Have another beer, wait until next year. Talks of the summer, they gave me out in fall. That baseball team made fools of us all. Squandered that lead, didn't take long, and October arrived with the same old song. Wait until next year, wait until next year. Exactly what went wrong is all too clear. so far, close but no cigar. It's a long, long way till opening day of the winter getting near. Have another beer, wait until next year. Have another beer, wait until next year. Actually, Doris Kearns Goodwin, the author, she grew up in Brooklyn. She wrote us a book about growing up as a Brooklyn Dodgers fan, and the name of the book was Wait Till Next Year. So I actually sent her a copy of the record, and I got a very nice note from her in return. So that was kind of cool. All right. One of the things I love about baseball is that it definitely has the best jargon, has the best nicknames, the best expression. So this next song is called Mendoza Line. Anybody know what the Mendoza Line is? What's the Mendoza Line?
200.
200 batting average, that's right. And it was inspired by Mario Mendoza, who was the prototypical slick fielding, weak hitting shortstop. He managed to stay in the major leagues for 9 seasons based solely on his defensive ability. And one day, George Brett was talking to reporters. George Brett was a Hall of Fame third baseman for the Royals. And Mendoza became infamous this day because Brett was talking to reporters and he said something to the effect, Brett was off to a really slow start and he was in his terrible slump, and he said something to the effect of, I knew I was off to a slow start when I looked at the averages and saw that I was below the Mendoza line. So from that point forward, Mario Mendoza became this tragic icon, always associated with the 200 batting average. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to write a song about it, and I did. And I liked it enough to go record it. So we recorded it. Now, before you go into a recording studio, you got to figure out, well, what kind of song is this going to be? What arrangement? What musical genre? So to my ear, Mendoza Line sounds like something from the Wild Wild West, you know. So we did like a country and western version of it. Put together this really good country band in the studio, and I actually invited the guys down here today to play it with me, but as you can see, they're not here. I mean, don't get me started on that. But I've got the next best thing for you, which is the karaoke version of the song, and there's a little sing-along part in it for you. So it'll take me about 15 seconds to set this up, so don't go anywhere. It's very complicated technology. I'm not here in this awful slump. I need some luck to clear the hump. For all their riding buses and NJ. I need a hit so bad that I could cry. The worse I do, the harder I try. That 90 feet look like a mile away. I'll take a roof lamb, 16 hopper, a lucky bouncer, multiple chops to get across that old Mendoza line. Of course I prefer when you bunch, give me hope. I gotta cross that old Mendoza line. Mendoza line, Mendoza line. Get to cross that old Mendoza line. Mendoza line, Mendoza line. Gotta cross that old Mendoza line. Now Matthew old Mendoza, for whom this line name was actual big leaguer, 686 games he played short and second, a little third and quite a glove. So his purpose was essential, but barely in his way. Though no his field utility set the benchmark for futility. flirting with 200 all the time. Now in 79, tied an all-time mark for the most games played in a big league park. And Absalom, Mendoza line. I'll take a blue book plan, a 16 hopper, a lucky bouncer, a Baltimore chop to get it across that old Mendoza line. Across that old Mendoza line. When you bite, you get me cold. I got across that old Mendoza line. Let me hear it now. Mendoza line. Mendoza line. Get me across that old Mendoza line. Across that old Mendoza line. Mendoza line. Got across that old Mendoza line. This is the only song where I can take a drink in the middle, so I'm going. Playoffs only once, and here's the stats. Games played, 1 hit in 5 total at-bats. I'll do the math correctly, you will surely find. Right smack dab on that Mendoza line. So if you're struggling on the field or any part of life, face that brave soul south of the border. He plugged and scrapped his whole life to be linked to an attitude true and born of different order. I'll take a blue book plan, a 16 hopper, a lucky bouncer, a Baltimore chopper to get across that old Mendoza line. Across that old Mendoza line. Of course, I prefer frozen rope, but pretty much give me cold. I got across that old Mendoza line last time. Mendoza line. Mendoza line. Get me across that old Mendoza line. Across that old Mendoza line. Mendoza line. Got across that old Mendoza line. It's getting across that old Mendoza line. Getting across that old Mendoza line. Thank you very much. All right, let me introduce the members of the band. Directly behind me on the drums is Chris Anzalone. Play along. Come on, give me a minute. Come on. And on bass, Rob Ignazio. Electric guitar and mandolin, Steve Mahone. And on backup vocals, actually, I did all the backup vocals. Because you know, when you go into the studio and you hire professional singers, it gets pretty expensive pretty quickly. So I did all the vocals myself, and I only charge myself half as much. So I saved quite a bit of money doing that. So, now I know what you're thinking. You're saying to yourself, this is just some cheap publicity stunt to promote the CD. Well, let me tell you something. You're right. Okay. So we're going to raffle off one shortly, but they're available on the table. Their price can move, so I hope you'll take one home with you. A lot of people think that football has supplanted baseball as the national pastime. I don't happen to agree with that, because I think people show their affection for baseball in ways that can't be measured. They read about it, they listen to it on the radio, they know the players, they know the rules, they played baseball, they played softball, everybody, you know. So I think baseball is still firmly entrenched in our psyche. But several decades ago, the late great comedian George Carlin did a terrific comedy piece comparing baseball and football, and I'd like to share that with you right now. Actually, if some of you saw the first Saturday Night Live, he performed this on when they had it a couple of weeks ago. So this is Baseball and Football by George Carlin. Baseball is a 19th century pastoral game. Football is a 20th century technological struggle. Baseball is played on a diamond in a park, the baseball park. Football is played on a gridiron in a stadium, sometimes called Soldier Field or War Memorial Stadium. Football, you wear a helmet. Baseball, you wear a cap. Football is concerned with downs. What down is it? Baseball is concerned with ups. Who's up? In football, you receive a penalty. Baseball, you make an error. Football is clipping, spearing, piling on, personal fouls, late hitting, and unnecessary roughness. Baseball has the sacrifice. Football is played in any kind of weather. Rain, sleet, snow, hail, fog. But in baseball, if it rains, we do not go out to play. Baseball has a 7th inning stretch. Football has the 2-minute warning. Baseball has no time limit. We don't know when it's going to end. We might have extra innings. Football is rigidly timed and will end even if we have to go to sudden death. And finally, the objectives of the two games are completely different. In football, the object is for the quarterback, also known as the field general, to be on target with his aerial assault by hitting his receivers with deadly accuracy in spite of the blitz, even if he has to use the shotgun. With short bullet passes and long bombs, he marches his troops into enemy territory, balancing this aerial assault with a sustained ground attack that punches holes in the forward wall of the enemy's defensive line. In baseball, the object is to go home and be safe. All right, we're going to draw for the baseball TV. And thank you for coming. Thanks to the Wellesley Cultural Council for funding today. And also for the people here at the Senior Center, Kevin and all the staff for inviting me. I appreciate it. Give them a round of applause. We'll do one more quick song.
That's it?
So the winner is Helen Turner. Is Helen Turner here? There you go.
You won your baseball.
There you go.
Hey.
There you go.
All right, we'll do one more quick song. My name's Howie Newman. You can go to my website, howienewman.com. Feel free to check out the memorabilia after the show. And if you'd like to purchase a CD, I'll be happy to accommodate you. We do take electronic payments too, so if you have Venmo or PayPal or one of those, we can do that.
Love to hear that.
But I enjoyed it. I hope you had a good time. And go Red Sox. This song isn't a baseball song. I didn't write this one. It was written in 1908 by Albert Tilzer and Jack Norworth, neither of whom had ever been to a baseball game prior to writing this song. And they didn't go to a game for like another 20 years, so apparently they weren't terribly convinced about their subject matter, but that's neither here nor there, so feel free to join in. Take me out to the ball game, take me out with the crowd. I need some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I never get back. And it's root for the Red Sox. If they don't make the playoffs this year, it'll be a shame. And it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Now, if I was going to give you a grade for that singing performance, I'd say, if I was really being generous, if you have a C+. So this is opening day, we're all excited, so let's try it one more time. A little more enthusiasm, a little more passion. Okay, you ready? Here we go. Take me out to the ball. Much better, thank you. Take me out with the crowd. I need some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back in it. For the Red Sox, if they don't win, it's a shame. Big finish now, here we go. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Howie, thank you very much for the great performance.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wasn't here during the whole thing. Did you do the, and I can check the tape on this, but did you do the Carl Yastrzemski song?
I did not do the Carl Yastrzemski.
Oh, the man with Carl Yas?
No, I didn't.
Oh, do it.
Oh, wow. Is that not in your repertoire, or you?
It's not in my repertoire. Most of it is songs that I've written. Sometimes, if I have time, I will do Sweet Caroline. If I have time. But no, I didn't do that. It's a great song, but you know, that's the way it is.
Thank you, Howie.
Okay.
Thank you.